Hello everyone, welcome to English class. Today we shall study a new topic and the topic name is synthesis. So let me write down the heading synthesis. So what is the meaning of synthesis? Synthesis, at first we will define it. Synthesis is the combination of simple sentences is the combination of simple sentences, a number of simple sentences. Okay, so into a new sentence, simple, compound, and complex. In this topic, we have to study mainly how to combine simple sentences into one new simple sentence. And second, compound sentence. And third one is what? Complex sentence. Okay. So basically we have to study here how to combine these simple sentences, a number of simple sentences. With the help of a number of simple sentences, we have to make one new simple sentence, and also we have to learn how to combine simple sentences into one new compound sentence, and third we have to study how to combine simple sentences into complex sentence. Okay, so these three we have to study basically in this topic. Got it? Now, we will understand here what is the meaning of simple sentence. Without it, you will not be able to understand this topic. So, we will write here what simple sentence. So, simple sentence contains what? Contains one finite word only. So, we can define this simple sentence that a sentence that contains only one finite verb is known as simple sentence. Now, question is that what is the meaning of finite verb? So, we will define this finite verb also. Finite verb. Okay. So, here is what finite verb is, a kind of verb, or we can say a verb that change according to person, that is first person, second person, and third person. Finite verb, a verb that can change, a verb that can change. You have to add here can word. I forgot to write over here. So a verb that can change according to person and number and number and number. How many numbers are there in English? You number. The first one is for singular number and plural number and plural number. So any verb which can change according to the person and the number is known as finite verb. Okay. Now try to understand the simple sentence. Okay. So you know very well when we will call a sentence simple. When it contains only, if it contains only one finite verb, then it will be said what? Simple sentence. Now come to the another one. Another one, simple sentence. Example of, at first we will give example of simple sentence. Like I can write here what? I teach English. Okay. So here what? This one is the finite verb. I teach English. So this is example of simple sentence. We can write other also like you learn English grammar. English grammar. This is also example of what? Simple sentence. Now come to the another type of sentence. Another type of sentence that we have to study is what? Compound sentence. So then we can say a sentence is in compound. Okay. So it is what? Compound sentence. So there is a small trick. So compound sentence always contains two principal clauses. So we can write here, it contains, or compound sentence contains two principal clauses. Okay. Now come to the another type of sentence. Which one is what? Complex sentence. Complex sentence. Complex sentence contains principal clause, and at least one subordinate clause. One subordinate clause. Okay. So what we can take example of the compound sentence. This is the fan. This is the fan which I bought yesterday. Okay. So here this is the fact. It gives its meaning by itself. So it is what? Principal clause. And we will understand why we can say this clause as a principal clause, that I will make you understand. And the remaining part after comma is what? Which I bought yesterday. This is what? Subordinate clause, which is also known as what? Dependent clause. This one is example of what? Principal clause. Principal clause, and the remaining part is what? Subordinate clause. Subordinate clause. Okay. Now the first question arises over here. What is the meaning of clause? So we will understand here the meaning of clause. Can you tell me what is the definition of clause, or what do you understand by the clause? So many people think that clause and sentence are equal, but no, my dear student. Clause is only part of sentence. It is not equivalent to sentence. We can't say a clause is sentence. Okay. So let me define also clause. Clause is what? Group of words. Group of words that forms part of sentence. Group of words that forms part of sentence and contains and contains subject and predicate. Okay, you can define till here also. It is also sufficient. Okay. So group of words that forms part of sentence is known as what clause. So then you have to study what types of clause. So we can write here also what kinds of clause. My dear student, there are basically three kinds of clause. The first one is principal clause. Second one is subordinate clause. And third one is coordinate clause. Coordinate clause. But basically we have to focus here only on two. The first one principal clause and second one is what? Subordinate clause. Coordinate clause is not very much important in this topic. Okay. So we will understand at first what is the meaning of principal clause. Principal clause. Principal clause. At first, we will understand this principal clause. Then we will be able to understand compound sentence. Okay. So a principal clause is what? A principal clause is a principal clause is an independent clause. Independent clause. A principal clause is an independent clause. Why it is an independent clause? Because a principal clause is an independent clause. Why we call it independent? Because it does not depend. Because it does not depend on any other clause for its meaning. Okay. For example, as I wrote there, what? This is the book which I bought yesterday. Okay, so this is the book. This part is giving its meaning by itself. It is not depend on any other clause. That is why this principal clause is known as what? Independent clause. Now, second one is what? Subordinate clause. Subordinate clause. Subordinate clause means what? Subordinate clause is an clause is a dependent clause. Dependent clause. Okay. Why it is known as what? Dependent clause? It because it depends on other clause for its meaning. Okay, because I have written here which I bought yesterday. Which I bought is not sufficient in itself. In order to know the meaning of this part, it is mandatory. It is totally depend on the principal clause. That is why this clause is known as what? Dependent clause. Okay. Hope everything is clear to you. Thank you very much. In next class, we will move to the next rule in which we will study how to combine simple sentence into one new simple sentence in which I will combine two simple sentences into one new simple sentence. I will dictate also all the rules related to synthesis. Thank you very much. So today's it is your homework. Now let me give you some homework also. Homework will be only your what? You have to learn all the terms, whatever I taught you in synthesis. You should learn definition of synthesis, clause you should learn, types of clause, and what the definition of simple sentence, definition of compound sentence, and definition of what complex sentence. Thank you very much.